I call this meeting to order of the Weslaco ISD Board of Trustees. Let the minutes reflect that a quorum of trustees are present and that this meeting has been duly called and that notice of this meeting have been posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meeting Act. The time is now 6:04. Those trustees present and comprising the quorum are Dr. Jaime Rodriguez, Mr. Andrew Gonzalez, Mr. Erasmo Lopez, Coach Armando Cuellar, and myself, Mr. Nieto. Hopefully, the other two will be able to show up later today. Opening prayer, Dr. Canales.
Board of Trustees. Mrs. Melinda Ortiz, a counselor at CTE Early College High School, will deliver the invocation this evening. Mrs. Ortiz, welcome.
Thank you. Good evening. Let us pray. Loving and gracious God, you are the giver of all good gifts, and we thank you today for all your blessings, for the successful outcomes of our school events, and for all of our staff members. We ask you that you bless all of us as we continue to seek your wisdom, guidance, and courage. Be with our school board members in their deliberations and help them to be wise in the decisions as they make for the good of all those who have placed their trust and confidence in their leadership. Dear Lord, grant us all the humility to always seek your will in all that we do and say. All glory be to you, Father, now and always, through Christ Jesus and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen. Pledge of Allegiance and Texas Pledge, Dr. Canales.
Board of Trustees, Mr. Carlos Robledo will introduce our students who will be leading us in the pledge.
Good evening, Board. Dr. Canales. I would like to have two students from Weslaco Early College step up here so we can talk a little bit about them. All right. With us here this evening for our Pledge of Allegiance and Texas Pledge, we have Angela Ambris, who is the daughter of Aleda Rodriguez and Josue Rodriguez. Angela is a senior at the CTE Early College High School. She is a member of the National Honor Society and is the parliamentarian. Angela has participated with different organizations working with Feast of Sharing and church food banks. Angela also helped put together thank you packets for local nurses. In the future, Angela hopes to attend Texas A&M University at Kingsville. How to big hand for Angela Ambris. And if her parents are here, can they please stand and be recognized? Are your parents here today? No, not here today. Okay. All right. Next, we also have here with us from Early College, Bibiano Alvarez. And he is the son of Bertha Alvarez and Bibiano Alvarez. Bibiano is also a senior at CTE Early College High School and is the class president. Bibiano is an active member of the National Honor Society and also helped with several activities throughout the year, such as the Feast of Sharing and food banks. Bibiano plans to attend Texas A&M University at College Station. How to big hand for Bibiano Alvarez. All right, his parents are not here, so we can move on to the pledge. If everyone would please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Texas Pledge. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Thank you very much.
I left my plaque here last time. Both were here. Got it last time.
Thank you, Angela and Viviano. Let the record reflect that Dr. Rivera came in at 6:06. Awards and recognitions, Dr. Canales.
Board of Trustees, we have several recognitions this evening. We're very proud of our students, our teachers, our parents, our entire Weslaco ISD family for the great things that continue to happen. Every time I turn around, there's another piece of paper that I need to sign because our children are advancing beyond district to regional and state competitions. So we're so very, very proud of our programs. So Mr. Robledo will be taking us through the recognitions this evening.
Thank you very much. Well, we're going to start off with an individual who's actually not here. She's not present here today. But we would certainly like to talk about her because she had an outstanding honor that was bestowed upon her recently. Tonight, we want to congratulate and celebrate recent Weslaco High School graduate Carolina de Anda, who won first place in the 2019 National Association of Bilingual Education Bilingual Student Essay Competition. Her essay was titled A Wild Tongue. Carolina attended the upcoming NABE conference luncheon to be held in Orlando, Florida, March the 8th. She will also receive a $500 prize. NABE is the premier association for the latest research and updates in the field of bilingual education and educators from all over the world. Carolina graduated this December, not only completing her coursework to receive her diploma early, she also earned an associate's degree in interdisciplinary studies from South Texas College at the same time. Carolina plans to attend the University of Texas, Rio Grande Valley in the fall. We would like to say a big congratulations to Carolina de Anda for this award. From what we understand, this is the first time ever someone from the Rio Grande Valley has won this award, which is a national award. Congratulations to her. She's not here. She's not here.
And her teacher, is her teacher in the audience, her principal?
Ms. Cifuentes,
Ms.
Morales,
Monica
her principal.
Cifuentes is her teacher, Ms. Morales, her principal. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
All right, moving on to our next presentation. Tonight, we would like to introduce Ms. Blaine Brenneman. If she can come out here, let's give her a big hand as she enters the room. Well, tonight we want to congratulate a student who was recently selected for a statewide program. The Texas Department of Agriculture has selected Weslaco High School junior Blaine Brenneman to serve as an ambassador in the Health Ambassadors for Ready Texas initiative. As ambassador, Blaine will help develop and promote campaigns at the state level to help her fellow classmates make healthier food choices. Congratulations, Blaine. And if her parents are here or any relatives, can they please stand and be recognized? All right, congratulations, Blaine. Up next, we would like to recognize some of our band students, so they can please come on in. How about a big hand as they enter the room? Okay. Well, this evening we want to recognize a very talented group of young musicians. These band students recently auditioned for All Region. Hundreds of students from Brownsville to Donna try out before a panel of 5 judges for the Texas Music Educators Association. The students perform a prepared piece of music, and based on their tone and technique, they earned a chair with the ensemble. As I say your name, if you can please step forward so you can be recognized. From Central Middle School, one student qualified for the Middle School All-Region Jazz Ensemble, and that is Antonio Sanchez. Antonio plays the alto saxophone, and his teacher is Moises Garza, or his band director is Moises Garza. Another group of students auditioned and also earned a spot in the All-Region Mariachi. From Weslaco East, we have Ilian Lopez with the trumpet. And we also have Joshua Chairez with the vihuela. Congratulations. And their instructor from Weslaco East is Ruben de los Santos. Mr. de los Santos. From Weslaco High School, we do have also some members of the mariachi who are on the all-region team. Playing the flute, Alicia Vieira. With the trumpet, Esteban Nunez. And playing the violin, Fernando Perez. We would also like to recognize the Weslaco High School mariachi instructor, Ivan Perez. Congratulations, students. Good job.
Thank you. Good job. Congratulations.
Good job. If their parents are here, could they please stand and be recognized, parents? Thank you. All right. Up next, we would like to recognize some very talented young ladies from Weslaco High School. How about a big hand for the cheerleaders? All right. Got enough room?
That's a lot of cheerleaders.
If y'all want to come step forward, come up here. Got another level here. There we go. Got plenty of room.
He's gonna need those up there. He has a copy already. Proclamation.
Okay. All right, so let me talk a little bit about these young ladies that are here this evening. We want to congratulate the Weslaco High School UIL cheer team. Last month, the cheer team attended the 2019 UIL Spirit State Competition in Fort Worth. We're excited to say that the WHS UIL cheer team scored in the top 20 out of 60 teams. This earned them a spot in the 2019 Spirit State Championship Finals for the first time in WISD history. They went on to place 16th overall. Congratulations, ladies. We would like to recognize you all individually. As I say your name, if you can step forward or raise your hand so we could recognize you. Team members are Dion Aguilar, Olivia Canales, Caricia Cantu. Don't be shy, y'all are cheerleaders now. Callista Castillo. Katrina Castillo. Mia Chuca. Mia. Gabriela Daniels. Natalie Estrada. Ashley Garcia. Jackie Garcia. Jaylyn Garcia. Valerie Garcia. Alexi Gonzalez. Mona Lisa Gonzalez. Marisa Gutierrez. Daisy Hernandez. Deidra Juarez. Mia Nguyen. Ashley Peña. Crystal Ontiveros. Esmer Ramirez. Shelby Ramos. Brianna Roman. Lisa Marie Sanchez. Carmen Sandoval. Brooklyn Solis. Brooklyn. Natalia Trujillo. Sabrina Turner. We would also like to recognize their wonderful sponsors over here. We have Elizabeth Davila, Michelle Cepeda, and Essie Bloomquist.
I just want to say a few words. First of all and foremost, I'm so super blessed with this group. They worked really, really hard. Nobody ever knows how hard the cheerleaders work when they go out to competition. And even though they're at pep rallies, football games, basketball games, baseball games, soccer games, track meets, giving awards, I want to say a big thank you to these ladies that worked super, super hard. And especially a big thank you to the board, to our athletics director, to Ms. Morales, to admin, who all the people that supported us. Like I said, and I think Mr. Robredo said it well, that the girls work really hard, and nobody ever really sees us working, but just shouting and cheering and showing spirit for our Panther teams and that. But again, girls, I want to say thank you to you first and foremost. I appreciate you. I appreciate your hard work, and hopefully we'll come to top 10 next year. Thank you.
If their parents are here, can they please stand and be recognized, parents of the cheerleaders? Thank you very much, and congratulations. You may exit this way.
That's okay. Cheerleaders, hey, wait a minute, cheerleaders. One of my favorite groups, of course, I always paid attention when I was at Weslaco High School, and I still do when you go out there and cheer. But your sponsors do an excellent job. They've been there cheer sponsors for many years, but we do see what you do on Friday nights, and congratulations again on your competition, and best of luck next year.
Congratulations.
What do you got? Oh, you got this? Okay. Yes. All right. Okay. Item number 6, proclamation for Family, Career, and Community Leadership Week, February 11th through 15, 2019. Dr. Canales?
Board of Trustees, we have several proclamations this month. Staff doing great things across our district. Mr. Robledo, will you take us to the first one?
You want me to do it? Or you want to read it?
You have it?
I have them all here.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So do we have any students here or sponsors from FCCLA? Please stand as we read this proclamation. Whereas Family, Career, and Community Leaders of America, the national nonprofit student organization for family and consumer sciences students through 12th grade, helps assume their roles in society through family and consumer science education in areas of personal growth, family life, vocational preparation, and community involvement. And whereas the organization extends classroom learning through chapter projects that develop leadership and initiatives and helps young men and women learn how to plan, make decisions, and carry out and evaluate programs of action as they work with other youth and adults in their school and the community. Therefore, Isidro Nieto, President of the WISD Board of Trustees, does hereby proclaim the week of February 11th through the 15th of SCCLA Leadership Week. Congratulations.
Thank you. Item number 7, proclamation for Career and Technical Education Month, February 2019.
Okay. We have another proclamation to read. Excuse me. We also have a short video that we're going to show you that the CTE students made after we read the proclamation, and they also want to present you with some gifts. So let me read the proclamation first. Okay. Whereas February 1st through the 28th, 2019 has been designated Career and Technical Education Month by the Association of Career and Technical Education, and whereas profound economic and technological changes in our society are rapidly reflected in the structure and nature of our work, thereby placing new and additional responsibilities on our education system, and whereas career and technical education provides Americans with a school-to-career connection and is the backbone of a strong and well-educated workforce, which fosters productivity in business and industry and contributes to the American leadership in the international marketplace. Therefore, Isidro Nieto, President of the WISD Board of Trustees, does hereby proclaim February 2019 as Career and Technical Education Month. And if we could please have the instructors that are here from the CTE department, that can please stand and be recognized. Instructors. Also, Ms. Avila, the CTE director, she is out on a midwinter conference, so she is unable to attend the board meeting, but she does send her regards. Now I'm going to run this short video.
Are you struggling to choose a career? Would you like to get started and get the endorsements you need to graduate high school? Get that and more through Weslaco ISD's career and technical education programs. How about a career in business and industry like agriculture, business, architecture and construction, arts and audio-video technology, business management and administration, finance, hospitality and tourism, human services, information technology, manufacturing, marketing, or transportation. We also offer careers in public service such as education, health science, cosmetology, and law enforcement. How about a career in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics? Not convinced yet? Well, there's more. Did you know that Weslaco CTE Early College High School offers 5 Associate of Applied Science degrees? Training like this can cost up to thousands of dollars, but if you sign up now, you can have all this for free. Yes, you heard right, free! But wait, there's more. Yes, all the training takes place at state-of-the-art facilities that include all of the latest technology, software, equipment, and tools needed to get you started on your career. Just listen to what these satisfied students have to say.
As a certified EKG technician, I am ready and excited for a career in healthcare after high school.
By participating in a 10-week automotive internship program, I have gained valuable work experience while in high school.
Did you know that CTE also offers dual enrollment through South Texas College and Texas State Technical College? How do you get this extensive training? It's easy. Just select your endorsement and register for the CTE course that follows your career choice. And if you act now, you will also have the opportunity to earn an industry-recognized certificate that can help you get started right after high school. Speaking of certificates, here's a list of certifications available through CTE. Certified Nurse's Aide, SolidWorks Certificate, Adobe Photoshop, Agriculture Mechanics, Microsoft Office Specialist, AutoCAD Certified Professional, Pharmacy Technician, and many more. All this and more is yours for free. Don't delay and sign up today. And hurry, this free offer ends when you graduate high school.
Okay, up next I would like to introduce from the CTE department, Ms. Ivanel Guerra, who will talk a little bit about the gifts for you guys.
Good evening, Dr. Canales, School Board. We have for you some baskets that have a lot of items. This is a small token of our appreciation from our teachers, our students, and staff. We hope you like them. They were handcrafted, a lot of them. Students came up with the ideas, a lot of the design. And so we just want to thank you once again for all your support throughout the year, every year, because we know that without you, we couldn't be as successful as we are. So once again, we thank you on our behalf, and we hope to continue to do as well every year. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
There's some items there that are rather large, but they're underneath the baskets and throughout the table here. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
And at this time, I would like to recognize some of the students. I think Eval can step forward, please. These are some of our FFA students who are involved in the CTE program. If they can please step forward. And any other students who are involved in CTE programs that are here, if you could please stand and be recognized. So as you can see that there is a large number of students that are involved in the CTE programs, from the FFA clubs to DECA, FCCLA, so many programs that are included in CTE. So we wanted to recognize all these students here in front of the board. So we're going to take a quick picture. Business Professionals of America, I see, also is represented here. So we're going to take a quick picture. All right. Picture. Any of the parents here, can they please stand and be recognized? Parents of the CTE students are being recognized. Thank you very much, students. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Blaine gets to go up there twice.
On behalf of the board, CTE teachers and students, thank you for those gifts. We appreciate everything you do for our district.
Okay, we have a couple more proclamations.
Proclamation for Educational Diagnosticians Week.
Yes. Do we have any special educational diagnosticians who are here? Can they please stand to be recognized as I read this proclamation? All right. All right. Educational Diagnosticians Week. Whereas Texas Governor Greg Abbott has proclaimed March 4th through the 8th, 2019 as Educational Diagnosticians Week to raise awareness of the important work these professionals perform every day in the Lone Star State. Whereas educational diagnosticians provide important services that benefit children, parents, schools, and communities in Texas. And whereas these professionals administer and interpret tests measuring academic achievement, adaptive behavior, intelligence, language skills, and perceptual motor skills, therefore, I, or Isidro Nieto, President of the Weslaco Independent School District Board of Trustees, does hereby proclaim March 4th through the 8th, 2019 as Educational Diagnosticians Week. Congratulations.
Thank you. Proclamation for National Social Work Month.
Okay. Social workers, if you're here, can you please stand and be recognized? Social workers? All right, social workers, now's your proclamation. Whereas professional social workers work on the front lines of human service delivery to help people resolve real problems, whereas professional social workers see firsthand the insidious effects of hatred and prejudice on individuals, families, and communities, including the rise in hate crimes. Whereas professional social workers understand that crimes against individuals based on race, ethnicity, religion, gender, sexual orientation, political belief, and other characteristics diminish the humanity of the victim and the perpetrator alike. Therefore, Isidro Nieto, President of the Weslaco Independent School District Board of Trustees, does hereby proclaim March 2019 as National Social Work Month. Congratulations. Thank you, social workers.
Item number 10, proclamation for Youth Art Month.
Okay, one more proclamation here. Do we have any art teachers here? Can they please stand and be recognized? All right, let me read this proclamation. Whereas the study of art leads to a fuller, more meaningful life, and whereas art education provides substantial educational beliefs to all elementary, middle, and secondary students, and whereas art education develops students' 21st century skills, creativity, critical thinking, communication, collaboration, and prepares them for higher learning, therefore, Isidro Nieto, President of the Weslaco ISD School Board, does hereby proclaim March 2019 as Youth Art Month. Congratulations.
Quite a number of proclamations today, but of course, all of you do an excellent job, so continue doing the job that you do for our district. Two of my former art teachers are here in the audience, so nice seeing you all again. Public comments, we don't have any public comments today. Item number 12, Superintendent's Report, Dr. Canales.
Board of Trustees, we have 3 items to report on. Student enrollment is first, and you do have a handout in front of you, and it's going to be on the screen in a few seconds. So we're looking at district enrollment and membership comparisons. We're comparing the 21st week average enrollment from last year, 2017-2018, to 2018-2019. We're at a positive 26 difference. When it comes to membership, children in school every single day, we're down 103, as you can see. If you break this down by school levels, elementaries, the difference is 32 for enrollment, 125 for membership. Middle schools are up 32 in enrollment and 33 in membership. High schools down 43 in enrollment and 42 in membership. Alternative schools down 4 and 4, and the Elf Academy up 74 in enrollment and 36 in membership. Our average daily attendance for the school year is 96.16%. Our goals are 97% for elementary schools, 96% for middle schools, and 95% for high schools. Our next item if you have any questions about attendance.
Any questions on attendance?
Our next report is on the our self-funded health insurance program.
On attendance, one question.
Yes,
So
sir.
Andres, where are we on the ADA compared to the budget where it was funded?
So for the one that we presented for the first 6 weeks, we were short, as I had indicated last time. By next week, we'll complete the 6 weeks, we'll have a better idea. I can put it on the update to let you
Put it
know.
on the update.
Yes.
I want to take the time to commend, actually, some of the schools have had 97%, 96%, especially in the elementary. So good job on the elementaries. Doing a better job in middle school and high school. It's always tough at the middle school and high school, but I want to commend those principals in the elementary level.
Okay, so for next item, we have our self-funded insurance program. Mr. De La Rosa.
Good evening, Dr. Gonzalez, Mr. President, members of the board. This is the standard self-funded health insurance program that we present monthly. So data representing September 1 through January 31st, 2019. Medical claims, and I'm going to approximate just a little over $4 million this time last year, compared to current of about $4.6 million in claims. That's an increase of just $504,570.42. Prescription drugs, this time last year, excuse me, we're at $1.3 million. Now currently we're at 1.8, which is an increase of about $510,894.92. And I do want to add that I do have Mr. Patrick McLaughlin here with Araya RX, who will give a little in-depth presentation of our PBM program. I'll call him up in just a second. Fixed costs, stays pretty much fluid throughout the year. So with everything included, this time last year, we spent approximately $6.7 million versus right now we're at $7.7 million. That's an increase of approximately $1 million this time over last year. On our self-funded workers' comp, as you can see that we have the exact number of claims from September 1 through January 31st. You will notice though that we have incurred significantly more. So up to now we've incurred exactly $154,370.76 versus last year of $68,290. The question was posed last month as to why the increase. The number of claims is exactly the same. However, the severity of some of the claims we've had is greater. We have one individual that's pushing just a little over $44,000 that we've incurred, and another two at approximately $18,000 each. So that's the reason for the increase in that. And this is our newsletter that we just put out. You can take a look at it. And then I will go ahead and, Dr. Gonzalez, with your permission, I'll go ahead and close this presentation and bring up Mr. McLaughlin with Araya RX.
Yep, perfect. Good evening. Thanks for having me here. My name is Patrick McLaughlin. I'm from Araya. We manage prescription drug benefit for Weslaco Independent School District. I was asked by Mike to make a presentation tonight. What I'm going to do is give you some high-level overviews of what the costs have been, tell you how we interpret those numbers, how we identify opportunities, what our philosophy is for managing those costs, and then some really specific examples of where we think we can make some changes on that. So let me just jump right into this. This first bar chart here shows you what your costs have been month by month since we took over the plan back in September of 2018. We're averaging around $400,000 a month. About 90% of that's being borne by the district and about 10% being borne by the members of the plan. But we are seeing a little uptick towards the last, through January there. This is, we're new to the plan. It's obviously going to see some seasonal fluctuation, but we start looking at these things when we see an increase in the trend. Is there something that's going on there? Is there something we can look at and make some changes at this point? So in order to do that, we look at the gross costs are. We need to normalize that. Is there any changes in eligibility, number of covered members that we have? So we divide the costs that we're spending by the total members in the plan, all the employees and dependents, and we get a PMPM cost, $1 per member per month. And that's the standard that we look at to try and figure out, are we really seeing a trend or not? And if you look at this graph here, that shows us your PMPM cost over those past 5 months. And again, we're seeing an increase, and that's because we saw an increase in gross cost, and your eligibility has stayed essentially the same. So our next step is, how do we interpret this? What happens, what can we do to look at that? Well, PMPM is a function of two things. There's frequency and unit cost.
Excuse me.
How many prescriptions are we
Excuse
using?
me, sir.
Yes.
We've got some lights over here flashing. If you can stay closer to the mic, because I don't think it's picking you up.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'll stop moving around.
All right.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
So PMPM is a function of two things, frequency and unit cost. How many prescriptions are we using? How expensive prescriptions are we using? So that's my next kind of drill in, is to see what's happening. So if this is a chart, we shared this with Mr. De La Rosa as well monthly, showing what his costs are. And on the far left-hand side is the month, and then the PMPM that I showed you. That next column there is how many prescriptions per member per year that we're looking at month by month. We kind of annualize that out per year. We're seeing that number is about 9.28 on average. For a population like this, nationally, the average is about 12. So you're actually underneath what the national average is. Probably if we went and adjusted by age, we'd probably be a little bit closer. But we're not seeing a big increase in the number of prescriptions that are being used. The next one is really where we start to drill in a little bit farther is, what's your average prescription cost? How much is it costing you per prescriptions that are filled? And you see that is jumping up over the past 5 months, getting more and more expensive. So we're not using too many prescriptions, we're using too expensive prescriptions, or that's what's driving our costs right now. And there's a lot of information in the press right now talking about pharmacy costs are skyrocketing, and manufacturers are raising their prices, and there's a lot of national focus on this. But sometimes it's kind of misleading. We're not really seeing a big increase in the cost of prescription drugs. What we're seeing is a shift in technology to more expensive drugs, and that's what I'm going to try to drill into a little bit for you now. The first thing we look at what the cost of drugs are, is we look at brand name drugs versus generic drugs. Generic drugs are drugs that have come off patent. They still work very well. They could treat many disease states out there. We could do it for a much lower cost if we're using a brand name drug. These two pie charts that you see here show the breakout of brand versus generic by the number of prescriptions and then what the dollars are. On the left-hand side, that pie chart, you can see generics make up the preponderance of drugs. About 84% of all the drugs are filled generically. That's a good thing. We try to hit about 88% as our target. We have programs in place to help increase generic utilization. Again, we're only 5 months in. I think we'll see this number go up over the next couple of months. But we still think it's a good number, using the right number of generic drugs. If you go to the other side of that chart there, you can see that the vast majority of your spend is on brand name drugs. So initially you say, well, that's scary. All these brand name drugs are costing us so much money. It's actually kind of a blessing because it's a small percentage of the prescriptions where we're spending a lot of money. So if we start putting programs in place to focus on those, we're not going to hit every single member in the plan. We can do it kind of surgically and just hit the therapeutic class and the disease states that we need to help lower the overall cost. Let me drill in a little bit farther. I'm going to show you top 10 therapeutic classes, and these are the disease states that are being treated by these drugs. And there's two kind of classifications of that. And this is a new thing in the last 4 or 5 years, specialty drugs versus non-specialty drugs. There's a class of drug called specialty drugs that are really what's driving costs for a lot of plans. They're made differently. They're usually recombinant DNA, biologic drugs that are being made for very specific classes, for cancer and things like that. So I'm going to show that one next, but the first one I'm showing you here is the non-specialty drugs, the more routine, your standard therapies that are being used. And what I want to show you here is in this therapeutic class, look at diabetes, cardiovascular disease, GI drugs. Look at the cost of diabetes medications. The $649,000 of the $2 million or so that we spent so far is on diabetes. Diabetes is really driving the cost, and not just for Weslaco, but for all of my clients right now. We're seeing big increases in diabetes. If you go all the way across, you see how many utilizing members there are in that last column for diabetes. About 350. It's about 10% or 8 or 10% of your population. That's the national standard you're going to see. About 8 to 10% of the people in our country have diabetes. So we don't have a lot of diabetics out there, but we are using some expensive meds to treat that. So that's really what's, in this case, what's driving in this non-specialty class. If we go to the next one, starting to look at the specialty class, again, these are the drugs that are used to treat those more rare diseases, cancer, rheumatoid arthritis, psoriasis, Crohn's disease. You can see those top two classes there, biologics for cancer. About 28 members have some cancer diagnosis, and that's driving a big part of our cost. We also see pain inflammation, which is the drugs using to treat rheumatoid arthritis. Dermatological or topical, that's the drugs treating psoriasis. What we see a lot of this is, if you're watching a football game on TV or reading a newspaper or a magazine, the drug companies are very good at driving the use of these medications. They create demand for this. So people who were treating their psoriasis with topical products are now going right to the Otezlas and drugs like that. So what our job at Araya is to do is to try and counter detail that. Let me give you one more example here of where I think that you'll see a big change. This goes down even more granular to the top 20 drugs for non-specialty. If you look at this, the top 20 drugs there, almost all of those are for insulin or for diabetes. Only 2 of the top 20 are for something other than that. This is not what we'd see 5 or 6 years ago. We wouldn't see diabetic drugs showing up as 18 of your top 20 drugs. And what's happening is what I said before, is there's been a big shift in technology where there's newer drugs out there that do work better than previous therapies, but they're much more expensive than what was happening before. So what does Araya do to help you try and manage that and make sure that we're using the right drugs, those medications, that we're getting the best possible outcomes? For every disease state that's out there, whether it's asthma or cholesterol management or Crohn's or whatever, there is a standard of care. And that standard of care is promulgated by some clinical body. So it's the AMA, it's the American Association of Pediatricians, it's the American Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute. They all promulgate therapeutic processes for treating a drug or treating a disease state. This one I'm showing you here, again, just for example's sake, so you can see how we kind of address this, this is the American Association of Clinical Endocrinologists. And they say, here's how you should treat diabetes. And they break it out into 3 categories here based on what the patient's hemoglobin A1C is. And hemoglobin A1C is kind of a refined measure of what your blood sugar is. So based on what your number is, there's a standard of care for how that patient should be treated. So at Araya, we take a TQM approach to this. We say, this is the standard of care. If we can reduce variation from that standard of care, we should get a more predictable outcome. That should produce quality care, and in the end, that should produce cost-effective care. So that's the kind of the leap that we make doing this. So what we do is, as these new therapies hit our system, if they're the expensive ones, we are stopping them and we're looking at them. We're looking at the patient. Have they tried a drug that should have been earlier in the therapy before they get to the most expensive one? We make sure that they are in that HbA1c class before they go to that class. We make sure if they should be on dual therapy, they are on dual therapy. So all those meds that you've seen, we've looked at all those therapies, and we're pretty confident that the people are on those are on the right meds. There's also been some that we've said, you know what, you could try something else, and we've gotten physicians to switch those medications. Because we back up all of our decisions with this kind of political citing, we don't get any pushback from the physicians, no pushback from the pharmacist, and the patient is usually just told by the doctor and the pharmacist, there's a better drug for you out there. So we're doing that already, not just in diabetes, but we're doing it in the drugs that are treating rheumatoid arthritis and the cancer meds and all the other ones as well. So we're managing those for you right now, every day as these come through, making sure that we're getting making the most of the dollars that are available. So that's the first thing we're doing, is making sure that we're using the right drug. But the next step is, are we getting the right unit cost for those things? And you selected us a couple, 5 or 6 months ago, so you know that the pricing that we have is good, is competitive to what the other vendors are out there. You know that we're getting rebates back from the drug manufacturers, and we're passing those back to the school district as well. So we're doing everything we can from that perspective to get you that low unit cost. But there's still more things that we can do out there, and these are a couple things that I've shared with Mr. De La Rosa that we think we can get even more money out of the manufacturers. Right now, there's programs the manufacturers place there. Again, if you've seen the TV ads, when the Otezla ad comes up, it says if you can't afford your medication, there's programs for you. Those programs are really geared toward people who don't have insurance or have high deductible plans. But what's happening is those groups that have the high deductible plan are benefiting from an additional discount that you're not getting. So what we can do is tweak the benefit a little bit, change the member's copay when the claim goes through to what that copay assistance program is, and then the pharmacist processes the claim. Half of it goes off to the manufacturer's assistance program, and only half goes back to the district. We looked at a bunch of medications already that we know that there's plans out there for. It's about 1 million drugs annual spend. We think we can save about $206,000 a year if we just make this tiny tweak to the benefit, and Mr. Del Rosa is looking into that. So one more way to get access to discounts that the manufacturer has out there. This next one is a little bit more outside the box, and I have a couple clients that are doing this right now, is taking advantage of international pharmacy options. Again, it's in the press all the time that drug manufacturers sell their products at lower prices in other countries. The fact is, manufacturers normally only make those products in one place, and so if the drug's made in New Zealand, it's shipped to the United States, it's shipped to the UK, it's shipped everywhere. We're getting the same products. So it is illegal to facilitate reimportation. So a CVS pharmacy or a local pharmacy can't go to New Zealand, buy a bunch of medications, take it back, and then dispense it. But it is legal for individuals to go and buy those medications on their own. There's companies out there that we've identified that can facilitate that process for the member, get them to a country that has that medication, with a doctor that can write the prescription, a pharmacy that fills it, gets shipped directly to the member, and then the district gets billed directly for it. Again, I've got 2 or 3 clients that are doing this right now. We're suggesting it to some other ones. The district have to decide, what their appetite would be for something like that. But our first brush at that, we found about $250,000 in claims that we could have pushed through these international channels and saved about $84,000 on those drugs. So there's some big savings out there if we could take advantage of that. So we're going to continue to bring you new ideas. We'll push the envelope as much as we can and let you decide what your utility is for those for the options that we have. And if not the ones you want, we'll go back and find more. We're going to continue to try and reduce that delta that you're seeing from last year to this year.
You gave us tons of information. 2 simple questions.
Sure.
Are the employees satisfied with the medicine they're getting? And, Andres, are we on budget, below or over? Are the employees satisfied with the medicine they're getting? Are we saying we can't pay for this, you need this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, what?
Yes, they are satisfied. Any issues that do come up, we do address them there in my office, and 99% of the time, we're able to resolve the issue.
My only question is, the turnaround time. The one complaint that I do get is, I understand the step therapy, but the turnaround time from medication gets denied, they need prior authorization, it's taking too long for the patient or for our employees to finally get the medication that they need. And I think that's where we need to make sure we become a little more efficient with that whole process there.
Our standard is same day, so if we're seeing a claim come through in the morning, it's by the end of the day we're having it. The only slowdown would be if we can't get the information that we need from the physician's office. But we have staff that's reaching out, more than once to try to make sure we get the information that we need so we can process. We feel the same way. I'm a pharmacist. Most people on my staff are pharmacists. We take a lot of pride in making sure that we don't interrupt therapies. We don't want to change someone's therapy who's been established. We're looking at new therapies only. So we're not going to stop someone who's already been getting a med, say, oh, let's go back and do a PA out. Now you've been on the med for 8 months. So I think we're pretty soft in that regard. It might take us a little longer to get to the compliance that we want, but we don't want to have a big disruption at the pharmacy counter. That doesn't work for anyone. I completely agree with you.
Mike, when an employee has trouble with getting that information or getting the response, do they come to you? Who do they go to?
We don't get really a lot of calls, like you mentioned, anything that was already pre-existing that they were getting before. That's usually approved. So when the employee does have issues, they either call Araya directly or they call my office, and then we help facilitate a resolution.
It's a high-profile benefit. I said we're using on average, a prescription per member per month. It's way more interactions than going to the hospital or going to the doctor. So we know if there's that big frequency, we can't have huge disruptions at the pharmacy. So very sensitive to that, and I thank you for that.
Any other questions?
No.
Mr. Lopez?
Your office is in New York?
Yeah, Albany, New York?
Is there any local?
No, I haven't, no.
So the closest thing is New York?
Yeah.
All right.
But I guess our staff members can communicate with you through your site, I guess?
Everything's done electronically, so they call them, whether they're in New York or next door, there's no difference.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item, Dr. Canales, I believe construction projects updates?
Yes, so we have a couple, two, as a matter of fact, from Alvarado Architects and Associates Inc., and I believe they're here in case you have any questions. Coach Rojas will help me, and Americo Garza, Mr. Garza, along with this. But we do have the pavilion at Mary Hogue Middle School and Dr. Armando Cuellar Middle School substantially completed as of January 9th, 2019. The team is working on something for the facade to that's related to the school, right? And the mascot
Yes.
and our,
Yes, ma'am. So we're currently working on some artwork to dress up the side panels with the artwork representing the school, whether it be Cuellar Middle School or Jaguar or Mary Hogue Middle School. Yes, sir.
okay, for Central Middle School, we did have the work there that's substantially complete as of February the 6th, 2019. You can see photos of what it looks like. And Coach, do you want to, Mr. Garza, do you want to add details about what was exactly completed? The restrooms and the science wing, along with the covered walkway?
Yes, so as of right now, we are substantially complete as of February the 6th. Right now, we're working on working as a team to generate the punch list for the program. We're also reviewing some of the delays requested by the company. So we're at the tail end of this project as well.
Questions? Any questions?
On a positive, we do have some savings that we have not tapped into, we don't expect to, roughly about $32,000 for this project as well.
So I'm assuming that the artwork's gonna be in those front area?
Yes, sir, we're gonna try to put them where the most visible areas are
Okay.
for the pavilions, and we have received some requests from the principals.
Okay.
We've been reaching out to them, and so we have some artwork, and we're working on working.
Because is that the color right now, that gray?
Sir,
Is that
it's a, yes, sir, like a grayish color.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Marico, did we have, in regards to the pavilions, did we have an issue with the pooling of water there in the center? Did we address that?
Yes, Dr. Rodriguez, there is a concern which has been brought up to the architect's attention as well as the contractor, and they're looking into it right now, find out what's causing that pooling in that area.
Any suggested fixes yet, or?
Not yet, not at this time, no. They're looking into it, so I'll follow up on it and find out what exactly is causing that problem.
Is Central Middle School already being utilized, this area?
No,
not yet?
not yet, no, sir.
Not yet, okay.
We have achieved, the contractor has already gotten the certificate of occupancy. The next step is to get the punch list generated. Once that's done, then we can allow the occupants to go in the building, staff and students.
Okay. Any other questions?
We have one more to report.
Yes.
Coach Rojas?
Yes, ma'am. The next one that we have is a quick update on the AMT Shop and Welding Woodworking Shop project. That one there, also almost a tail end of the project as well. If you look at some of the allowances that we still have not used, so that's about $36,000. We are reviewing the number of delays that they're requesting as far as for financial or final completion of the project. We've already received certificate of occupancy as of February the 6th. And the contractor will be requesting partial, substantial completion, and we will proceed with punch list items for the project. The next project is the welding shop, the workshop. Also certificate of occupancy to be processed by the city of Weslaco next week, and contractor will request final substantial completion and proceed with punch list items. The following are just quick pictures of the status as of today with these projects.
I was over there the other day with the animals. There's still pigeons coming in. I don't think they welded that fence all the way up to the top in certain areas.
No, that's
Can you-
something that
Can
that
you
we're
take a
looking
look
at.
at it, please? I mean, I think the whole
Absolutely.
purpose was to keep the pigeons out.
Absolutely, yeah, that's something, we haven't started the punch list in that
Okay.
site. There's still pending electrical connections by Magic Valley, which we're scheduling, and it's expected to be done either by Friday or early next week. And then at which point, the contractor will proceed to get certificate of occupancy for the building. And we come in with a punch list, and by the way, they have to turn over a fully clean building. Then we'll look at those items too. I know that the gates have been left open quite a bit, and that's probably also part of the problem. But we're looking all the edge openings or any gaps or anything.
Yeah, there was a few, their weight, and they just slipped in.
Right.
I was there with the ag teacher the other day when it happened, so.
Right. That's in the ag welding shop? Is that, yeah. Okay, sir, we'll take a look at it. Okay, the next project that we have is the
Chemical storage.
chemical storage building. That one's a little bit, as you can tell on the photos, a little bit further behind, but there's been some delays due to weather. And then also the glass louvers that were requested for this building, but, and doors, yes. But other than that, we are moving forward with the building. And we just want to thank the board and also confirm to the board that staff is meeting at these sites daily and weekly, even on Saturdays. So they know that we're going to be out there even on Saturdays to visit the sites. So as a team, we're working together, and when we show up, we communicate with each other to see what was discussed. Thank you.
That's what we had asked for daily monitoring, and
Yes, sir.
appreciate that.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Any other questions? No? FDR Elementary update, Dr. Canales?
The last report is on FD Roosevelt Elementary. On June 20th, 2018, our city had about 14 to 16 inches of rain. Our team is very familiar with what transpired that day. We had summer school that day. FDR Elementary was closed for the school year. We had to reroute staff and students to Airport Elementary and to Ivana Elementary. Staff, for the most part, staff followed students. As you can see from the presentation, FDR Elementary is in a AH zone. What that means is it's in a flood zone that's based upon 1980 work. It's likely to flood every 100 years, okay? And this is based upon 1980. We're almost 40 years later with lots of growth in the city. From the next slide, you can see again the 100-year flood zone. From the pictures there, the zone is also a special hazard flood area. We had 521 students there. As mentioned earlier, they went to Airport and Ivana. Commend the staff again. We were able to start school the first day as scheduled in August. Our principals of both FDR, well, all our principals of FDR, of Ivana, and of Airport welcome staff and students and parents to their new homes for the year. All staff stayed in similar positions. We had a few that we had to work with, and teachers again stayed with their students. You think about our 5 goals. We're very, very proud of our goals, Board of Trustees, that you adopted 2 years ago and that we continue working hard on. We know that our student and staff safety is of utmost importance to all of us. Children right now are learning. Parents are engaged. We are one family in Weslaco ISD, and as a superintendent, I couldn't be prouder of how the community, this Weslaco ISD family, every single one of you came together to make sure that our children are known, valued, and inspired no matter where they go to school. And our staff, you did the same thing for each other. Staff is exceptional. Talking to both principals and to the former principal of Roosevelt Elementary, you know, it's like we want the staff here. They're doing great things. We love the children. We're doing great things. We cannot predict when another big rainstorm will happen, but we do know that we've had 2 such storms which have impacted FDR in recent years. I believe the last one was in 2015, and then we had the one in 2018. I was talking to one of you board members recently, and you shared a story with me about a parent that you met, and the parent asked about FDR for the upcoming school year. And the parent said, we've had a little bit of, adjustments to the new school, like all of us when you take a new position or you go to a new school, there's some adjustments, but things are going okay. And then they asked you, what are your plans for FDR? And you shared with me that you told the parent that administration, the superintendent, the board of trustees takes safety very, very seriously. And that after what I saw on June the 20th, 2018, at 9:30 in the morning, when I was able to leave my home to go check our facilities and saw FDR with about 3, maybe 2.5, 3, 4 feet in some areas of water piled surrounding it, and saw what happened to our neighborhoods. There's faces in the audience that I see that were helping us at Sam Houston Elementary School when people were wading in water up to the chest. It was hard on us, very hard on us. And as a superintendent, I think about that. I think about students being in FDR and, what's the right thing to do for staff and for students. So Board of Trustees, later on this evening, we're going to ask you to approve a long-range facilities audit that includes master planning by a committee of stakeholders, a large group that includes parents, staff members, community members, some of you, and perhaps students. That long-range facilities audit is going to take and assess every single one of the buildings in Weslaco ISD. We're going to know when they were constructed. We're going to know when the roof was last replaced, chillers, air conditioning systems, the foundation. We'll have all kinds of information. We're also going to engage in long-range planning. It's amazing to think that children who start kindergarten in 2020, what we're hearing is they'll work until they're 75 years old. If I start kindergarten in 2020, I'm 5. I'm going to work till I'm 75, so add 70 to 2020. What year are we in? 2090. We're preparing children for a future where mostly all of us in this room, we won't be here to see them work their final days and to retire. We're preparing children for a new century. So this long-range audit about the needs of every facility in Weslaco ISD and about our community's vision for education well into the future is something that's going to be happening if the board approves it, and it will take about 4 to 6 months. So Board of Trustees, Roosevelt Elementary will not be opening the 2019-2020 school year. And the Board of Trustees who told me the story about meeting the parent and having the conversation to the parent, when the parent told you, when you said, I don't think that we'll be able to open it until we have this study, and the parent said, thank you, because I can't imagine my babies being in a building with water around it, not being able to get to them. So we will not be opening for the 2019-2020 school year. Tomorrow, I will be meeting at an airport with staff who are now part of the airport family who were at FDR and also at Ibarra, and have prepared a letter to send out to parents in backpacks tomorrow.
And there's enough room in your 10 schools for these kids?
Yes, sir.
You're not overcrowded?
No, sir, we're not overcrowded.
10 elementary schools?
We have 10 elementaries, and if you, from the report at the elementaries, we were down in enrollment 32 and our membership 125. So right now, we have enough room. We have some time to plan, do the audit, and get ready, let the community be involved.
There's enough room right now?
Yes,
for
sir,
next year.
there's enough room.
That answers my question. I'm okay with that.
And I will take the time to just make both principals at Ibarra and at Airport have worked really well with the new parents and the students, and of course the staff have done an excellent job. So we'll continue to help those that we're from Roosevelt and now we're attending Ibarra and Ibarra and Airport. Coach Cuellar?
Yes, In the meantime, are there parts of that school that are being used, for example, the cafeteria?
We don't have anything used right now, being used right now.
That's not being used for anything? And that school is being used by Weslaco PD for some kind of
They
training?
did have an exercise,
Yes, they.
about what, a month
they
ago?
They did conduct alert training, which is the standard school safety training they did. So that's really that's the only thing that's been happening there.
Okay.
But to answer your question, no other
Okay,
activities,
so
nothing else.
in the meantime, is there anything that is being done or anything that we need to do to ensure that, that there is no more further damage to the structure that may cost more money in the end, or do you know what I'm trying to say? Is there stuff that maybe can be kind of looked at just to preserve, what we have and not costing more in the end?
One of the things that we're doing right now is we're leaving the chiller systems operational, so that way we won't have any mold issues or anything like that. We do have crews that go in every once in a while and just make sure everything's working properly, filters are still cleaned out, stuff like that. Air
That's what I'm
filters,
asking you.
yes, sir,
Thank you.
still cleaned out.
But after 2020, after that, one more year, if we continue growing in enrollment, there'll be options to either go back to Roosevelt or option to build another school. And that's something we'll decide with this study going on.
Yes, sir.
So it's not closed necessarily completely right now until we decide, the board decides in a year, 2 years, to do something with Roosevelt.
Yes, sir, that's
That's
correct.
the plan that we have.
That is the plan, sir, yes. Well said.
Mr. Lopez, anything?
I was the board member that was contacted, that had that meeting with a parent. And when I told her that the superintendent's thoughts on our student safety and not having students in Roosevelt, she cried. And she shared with me, she says, I don't know what I would do if there's a flood and I couldn't get to my babies. Right there, that convinced me that Dr. Canales had the right thought and the right idea in her mind. So I just wanted to share that with her and with our audience, that our student safety is the most important thing to all of us here and to all parents, I know that. So thank you, Dr. Canales, for making that decision.
All right. Any other comments? All right, next item, consent agenda. Any items that we need to pull? Dr. Rodriguez?
I have none.
Mr. Gonzalez? Dr. Rivera?
None.
Mr. Lopez?
I have none.
And Coach Cuellar?
None.
I don't have none. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
We have a motion by Andrew. Do I have a second to approve the consent agenda?
You're right.
I'll make a motion.
Okay. We have a motion by Mr. Gonzalez and a second by Dr. Rivera to approve the consent agenda. Any questions? Any discussion? All right, motion carries. Item number 14, discussion items. Dr. Canales, first reading of Policy Update 112. Yes.
You called for a motion and a second, but there was no vote.
Oh, my fault, okay. All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All those against? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Pettis. Discussion items. First reading of Policy Update 112 from the Texas Association of School Boards.
Board of Trustees, this is the first reading, and there's no action. Mr. Garcia will provide a brief overview. You have been sent this information in the board updates. Mr. Garcia.
Thank you, Dr. Canales. Good evening, Mr. Nieto, members of the board. We're bringing to you the first reading for Policy Update 112. No action is required for the first reading of Policy Update 112. There are recommended changes to local policies that include the following topics: district acceptance of electronic signatures, procurement requirements for federal awards, term contract entitlement, false claims of discrimination, harassment, or retaliation, standards for advertisements, and grievance procedures for when a district refuses entry or to eject a person from district property. The update contains 14 local policies. 12 have been replaced, 1 has been added, and 1 has been deleted. Board action will be needed to approve the replaced, added, and deleted local policies in this update. Legal policies will not require board action, but are provided for review. Both local and legal policies will be online and incorporated in the school district policy manual after the final adoption and after the second reading. Copy of this update has been provided to central office administrators and principals for their review. I did forward you the explanatory notes on February the 5th. I also called, of course, Dr. Rivera and Mr. Kennedy just to get, their guidance on the presentation for the policies. They are members of the policy committee. And staff is here in case you have any questions on any of the policies.
I'm okay.
Anybody?
Okay. We will bring the second reading in March.
Okay. No
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item B, Dr. Gonzalez, interim financial report for the 5 months ending January 31st, 2019.
Okay, Board of Trustees, this is a no action item. Mr. Andres Sanchez will highlight some sections of the report.
Thank you, Dr. Canales. Mr. Nieto, members of the board, for the 5 months ended January 31, 2019, in the general fund, for the total revenues budgeted of $169,951,000, we have received $93,661,000. That represents 55% of our budget. And on the expenditures for all the functions together, we have budgeted $172,682,000. We have expended or encumbered $68,531,000. That represents almost 40%. The percentage for 5 months is 41.6, so we are doing well with the budget in the general fund.
Normally, that's about the percent that we are at about this time.
About 41.6. It's 8.33 each month.
Okay.
Any questions?
Any questions?
One question, Andres. I know
Yes, sir.
that During the audit, you were able to determine the fund balance from the previous budget. Do you recall what it was?
The
From
fund
last year's
balance?
budget? When the audit was completed?
Yes, sir. Well, we had, the total fund balance was 41 million, the total amount.
What was left over, though, from that
Yes.
budget?
Well, from that budget, we have 18 million, the one that we don't spend, and there's also 15 million fund balance assigned for facilities that are the needs the board can use for
But
other
from
budget
these
amendments
functions,
or
11
facilities.
through 99, was there a fund balance?
Well, yes, at the end, there was almost $4 million
$4 million.
left. Yes, sir.
Okay.
For last
Good.
year.
That's good.
Any other comments or questions? All right. Item C, acknowledgement of Hidalgo County Tax Office Collection Report for January 2019, current taxes and delinquent taxes.
Mr. Sanchez.
Oh, Mr. Sanchez.
Yes. For the January 2019 report from the tax office, on current taxes, we have collected today $20,984,000. That represents 79.73%. And last year, the collection was 79.96%. So we have collected 0.23% less than last year. And on the delinquent taxes for the prior year levies, we have collected $454,652. That represents 11.49%. Last year, for the same type of taxes, we collected 13.11%. So we have collected 1.62% less on the delinquent taxes for January.
So we're a little bit behind schedule, or
A
we're?
little behind in the collection for the prior year taxes. Yes, sir. But on the current, we're doing very good, which is the bigger portion of the tax.
Comments?
No.
Questions?
Every year it varies, so
Yes,
sometimes you have
it
higher
is.
and lower depending on tax collection.
Correct. All right, item number 15, discussion and possible action items. A, approval of interlocal agreement between Hidalgo County and Weslaco Independent School District to establish cooperative efforts to achieve a common goal of providing information for improving the health, safety, and welfare of students, staff, parents, and community. I believe this is one, Dr. Canales, that Mr. Fuentes?
And Commissioner Fuentes, correct, Mr. Nieto. Commissioner Fuentes of Precinct 1 approached us and with this opportunity to basically engage in collaborative efforts that support improvements in the health, the safety, and the welfare of our students, of our staff, of our families, our entire community, in a way that we provide up-to-date public and awareness information regarding emergency events and available county resources. It has been reviewed by legal counsel, and Mr. Fuentes would like for you to share a little bit more about how this came about.
Thank you, Dr. Canales, Mr. Board President, trustees. It's great to be back here in this room again. Congratulations, Mr. Cuellar, Coach Cuellar. It's great to be around a lot of familiar faces and certainly a lot of people that I grew up respecting and working with over the last few years. I want to thank you again for considering this action. It actually will expand upon the discussion that you just had with respect to flooding and the rain events that we experienced on June 20th of this last year. I'd like for all of you to know that this is in response to that. One of the things that we experienced was that we had a lot of available resources with respect to cleaning supplies, food giveaways, things that were made available to the public subsequent to the rain event. But due to our displacement from our office, we didn't have all the resources available to us. In addition to that, one of the things that we found was that when we were trying to disseminate this information, it was very challenging for us because we don't have communication infrastructure much like that is set up here at the school district. Because of the enrollment process, you have a lot of contact information. Your principals do an outstanding job of communicating with parents. And as we were going through the event, we had a couple of situations at Rivada Elementary, Mary Ho Middle School, because those were the most impacted areas, obviously Rico Elementary being there as well. But we wanted to reach out to these parents because of the materials and supplies that were available. We just couldn't get the information out fast enough. In communicating with, at that time, Board President Mo Lopez and Dr. Canales, who again were very, very helpful during the event, we asked for consideration of the principals, please passing along a robocall to the parents in that area to let them know that we would be handing out supplies and assistance to the families that were in those affected areas. We went from having a response of about 250 families to over 1,000 families because of that outreach. And we found that it was the most impactful when we included the school district as part of that communication process. So in addition to having a cold weather shelter at Sam Houston Elementary, which I again thank you for opening your facilities up to help our community out, obviously, Ivara Elementary, Mary Hill Middle School, Americo Garza, Mike De La Rosa, and Nova Segura all made themselves available during that time. We also used the playground there at Mary Hill to try to drain some of the water from the ditches that surround the Las Brisas Chapa area. And we were able to move displace some of that water into the playground so that we could create more capacity in our drain ditches. So because of that outreach and the effectiveness of that infrastructure that you have that allowed us to communicate our willingness to share, we've asked for consideration of this agreement, which will allow the precinct and the county to share information regarding health, safety, and welfare. And that includes evolving emergency situations, disaster planning, mitigation, response, and recovery. The district, or what the district would provide would be that communication outreach. But this would be at your sole discretion. The superintendent would be given the information, and she, and along with the communication with the board, would be the people, the contact where all of that information would disseminate. The county at no time would have any control over your communication systems. We would not interfere with the district policies and practices. All we would do is provide the information. This would just formalize the agreement that if you deem it necessary, that you would pass that information along. But again, we consider that the information that we would be sharing would be critical to the health, safety, and welfare of the people that live in your area. We don't anticipate that any monies would come out of the district where you would be paying for anything. Some examples of what I hope to see in us participating together in the future is possibly when the kids come back from summer vacation that we have a hurricane preparedness flyer that has a lot of information that's necessary or that would be useful for them to prepare for hurricane season. And we would provide that information to you, the handouts, the flyers that you could hand out to your children. We also would ask that, cold weather shelters like we experienced this last weekend, First Baptist Church is usually the first entity that opens its doors to the community. We would be asked, to pass that information along to parents and families that need that kind of assistance, along with when we anticipate heavy rainfall, sandbag distributions, and hours, locations, and that type of information. So again, we don't anticipate any money or consideration monetarily for the district. We only anticipate that we will be sharing information. And we considered it a very valuable experience going through that June event and you allowing us to use your infrastructure for communication. We are actively still pursuing FEMA's public assistance. I know that we're still all waiting for FEMA to come in and help us with respect to infrastructure and our needs, and that would assist you as a school district as well. We are working very hard to try to get that. And I also want to mention that at the end of March, we host an all hazards conference in McAllen that is completely free to anyone who wants to attend. I believe some of your district personnel has participated in the past. We encourage you to keep participating because we share a lot of valuable information with our emergency management team and our health and human services programs, provide outstanding education on the types of things we should do in those emergency situations. So we thank you again for this consideration and thank you for allowing me to be here today.
And thank you for being proactive, because I think working together, especially with the number of students that we have, it's important.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion by Dr. Rivera and a second by Andrew. Mr. Gonzalez. Any discussion?
Thank you, David. Good idea on using the communications that the school has with the parents, and that would be a great avenue to get the information to them during a crisis. Very good idea.
Thank you.
so
I
much.
appreciate it, and the good news is I think that every single school district in Precinct 1 has verbally agreed, and we'll bring this interlocal to every single one of them. And you guys were the first ones to accept, so we appreciate that.
Thank you, Commissioner, for the information. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those against? Motion carries.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner.
Item B, discussion and possible action for the board to consider approval of the Facilities Committee's recommendation for the Consultant Services for Long-Range Facilities Master Plan, proposal number 191216. Dr. Canales.
Board of Trustees, the Weslaco ISD Facilities Committee, and we do have several members in the audience, determined that in order to continue moving the district forward, a long-range facilities plan was needed. Thus, they voted in favor after several meetings to pursue this. What we're proposing today is not only an assessment of all buildings in our district, but also, as I mentioned earlier, planning for the future, planning for the children who are going to be working well until the end of this century, listening to program needs. So it would be facilities audits, what's wrong with our facilities, how big are they, how many classrooms, how many offices, last time swings, renovations happened, roofs were replaced, chillers were replaced, air conditioner, so what about the foundation? But it's also about what do we, as a community, because it will involve several community members when we get to there, what is our vision for education for children well into the future. So after talking, we did send out 8 proposals. 3 were submitted. 1 proposal was received late. The committee did review presentations, where presentations were made by the 3 who submitted the proposal. The committee is recommending, and I am supporting that recommendation, to approve their ranking and recommendation of the proposals for consulting services for long-range facilities master plan and award the contract to ERO Architects from McAllen, Texas. The whole process will take 110 days, it said. We're calculating 3 to maybe 6 months to complete. So that is our recommendation. We do have staff here and facility members. Do you have any questions?
And this is not budgeted, right? The one, 177,000?
No, it will be from the fund balance assigned for facilities or other needs. We'll take it from there.
And the work will take how long to complete again?
They stated 110 days.
So they're gonna come up with recommendations, let's say in memorial, for example, on recommendations on what needs to be done?
Yes, sir.
Is that the
Do an
purpose?
evaluation of the school, and if we need to do any improvements to it. But it will be including all the campuses, the district as a whole. Like you mentioned earlier, if we need an elementary school, do we do it at Roosevelt or do we do it somewhere else? So they will provide that recommendation.
So they'll evaluate whether you need new carpet, a new roof,
Yes,
new
sir.
air condition,
And
just
and establish schedule when we need to replace whatever we need to replace. Whatever we replaced
With a plan.
recently.
How
give it
many
some time.
years?
Right, yes.
And they'll also have the costs projected also if.
Estimate, yes, sir. So we
Yes.
know how to budget, when do we need to budget
So-
for that.
So be a master plan to include all schools, all facilities.
Yes, yes, sir.
And to prioritize on, like Dr. Rivera was saying, when you have to replace AC, instead of replacing when they are not working anymore, be proactive. and-
So we'll know what we need and when. But we've been working with certain things, but not the entire district. So they will help us that, and we'll have educational needs at the same time. We'll have a committee, big committee, having community members in it,
Correct.
parents, even students, staff, so we can all contribute to the information that we need. And hopefully have the support from the community for this plan.
have they been to the schools to give us an idea, more or less, of what they're gonna be doing?
I don't know that they have, sir. We provided information on the schools, but no, they haven't.
So this is just the cost, $177,000.
Mhm.
But then they may come up with millions of dollars of repairs that need to be done. Now, is that budgeted?
No, we haven't. We have some money in the fund balance sign for facilities or other needs.
We're talking about, what, 20 schools?
Yes,
Yes, sir.
we'll have a comprehensive audit of every single
It'll be
school.
yes, it'll be an audit and then,
A committee.
Yeah. And part of this, provide information that if there's an opportunity to do a bond issue, that we can include good documentation to support the bond. And what are the facilities we need for which we don't have money right now?
so I'm seeing many millions of dollars in renovations, just,
I agree. Yes, sir.
well, it's a start, I guess.
And I
And
think
our staff can't do it, right? Our staff
No.
cannot do this kind of work on what needs to be done.
No.
No.
Has there ever been something like this done prior?
No, sir. No. Not a comprehensive plan, no.
Not,
Not a con- yep.
for
our
the
oldest
district.
school is how old?
Excuse me?
Our oldest school.
The oldest school?
Horton?
Almost 100.
Fifties. What is?
Probably Weslaco High?
Says the 70s, what's like the
The bigger
70s?
schools.
Weslaco High is old?
Yeah, that's probably the oldest one.
79 more?
Central?
78?
for now.
76.
76.
I believe 76 is when Weslaco High School was open.
Right. That's Central, what it studied before was, I don't know.
Early
50s
college.
or 40s. Right.
Black.
Louis Black.
And what we've been doing the last few years is, as they break down, AC is not working, we have to repair that. On the plan, it'll show specifically when you have to replace the roof, AC, carpet, whatever. It'll be a plan, so you prioritize there, but then, of course, depending on the funds that we have, is how we go forward, once the master plan is in place.
And there's also, if I may interject, and there's also a very big component, that is the educational component that's also a part of the study for the future, like Dr. Gonzalez was mentioning, for future, our vision is for the future of Wesco ISD as far as education is concerned. That's a huge component that's also included in this packet. Yes, sir. And there's a number of very important deliverables that are included in this packet that we can share with you now, or I can send them to you through the board update as well.
And I believe for future board members, 5 years from now, 6 years from now, there will be a plan in place.
Yes, sir.
And they'll be able to make their, whatever they need to do to plan for the future.
Andres, will this, moving forward, I believe that this plan, will it help or it will show the need that the district has in, probably in millions of dollars, like Dr. Rivera said earlier? And will that help you in going forward if we decide, or if the board decides to go for a bond? in the future, will that sort of kind of organize
Yes, sir.
everything for you and give you a list of what our needs are?
Yes, sir, definitely will.
Okay.
Plus, it will have the support of the community
Right.
by showing our needs, visiting the campuses, so that it's not just something that we came up out of the blue that we need, so that we can get the support.
That's a good point, Mr. Lopez.
I'm going to make a motion to approve.
We have a motion by Mr. Lopez to approve. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second by Dr. Jaime. Any more discussion?
One question is there a list right now at every campus of what is priority? You got 20 schools. Do we know at Airport, at Northbridge, what's broken right now? Do we have an idea?
Dr. Rivera, yes, sir. I don't want to mislead you, sir, but I know through the Facilities Committee, prior to me overseeing, there was a list of such that was created, if I'm not mistaken, sir, but I will find out for sure to ensure that has been done. Yes, sir.
You're not mistaken. I've been part of the Facilities Committee and as a board member, I believe, Andrew also?
Yes, sir.
And last year, we instructed the schools that we asked them to make us a list of, Dr. Canales and I attended a seminar at one of our conferences, and it was your wants, your needs, and your wishes. So I believe every school has put a list together and has been compiled by Andres and has it together. I know that the superintendent has presented at several of the meetings. So there is a list that way, and our thought was to have whoever we hired to do this hit the ground running, and instead of having to start off by saying, okay, what do you want, what do you need, and now let us do our study, and we just wanted to give them a head start.
I understand, but the principals, there's a list already. Every campus has a list. ERO, if they're approved tonight, is going to find the same thing the principals found out, what's needed. And we're paying them $177,000 to find what we already know is broken.
If I may say, Dr. Rivera, the list that we're getting from the principals is basically repairs of maintenance items that we need. The evaluation from this company is going to provide the facility, the condition, the buildings, items that the principals cannot make an evaluation on. What we have in, on our growth, what the plans that we have, what is it that we need to have for the future? That's also added to this part.
No more questions.
So we have a motion by Mr. Lopez and a second by Dr. Jaime. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those against?
I'll support it reluctantly.
Okay.
With concerns.
Yes, sir. Motion passes. Thank you. Item C, this discussion of possible action for the board to consider approval of an advertising contract with NEP Medical Center as the season sponsor. Dr. Canales.
Board of Trustees, Mr. Robledo and Mr. Andres Sanchez have been working on this item diligently, just to secure advertising revenue contracts for the district to pay the loan obtained to purchase the scoreboard installed at Bobby Lackey Stadium. So this one is with NAP, and we're about ready to close the deal. So gentlemen, do you want to highlight a couple points?
I'll let you do that part. Sure. Probably a good contract.
So they would be one of our major sponsors. We have two big spots that are on top of the scoreboard, two big areas. We already sold one of the spots to Texas National Bank, and they're going to be known as the Texas National Bank Wildcat or Panther Field. And the other big sponsorship is the season sponsor. So it would be Nat Medical Center as the official sponsor of the Weslaco ISD Wildcats or the Weslaco Panthers for the season. So they would be the season sponsor. And plus there are some other items that they would also get for their advertising.
So we are recommending your approval of a $25,000 per year advertising contract with NAP Medical Center as the season sponsor.
Yes, I'd like to make a comment in the bullets, the rationale, in the second paragraph. The second bullet said the initial term is retroactive to September 1. It's going to be actually February 1, because we're barely agreeing on this contract. So it's going to start from now on, from beginning of February.
Okay. So every year thereafter will be February 1st? or?
No, we'll just continue.
Okay.
Our attorney has reviewed the
Yes.
contract,
Yes, sir.
and everything's okay?
And we discussed it with our legal counsel for the hospital as well.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Lopez and a second by Andrew. Any other discussion? All those in favor say, please say aye.
Aye.
All those against? Motion carries. Item D, discussable and possible action for the board to consider approval of a procurement method of construction for the replacement of the chillers and related equipment for Annex A and B and the gymnasium at Central Middle School. Dr. Canales.
Board of Trustees, on February 13, 2017, you approved the HVAC system upgrades district-wide project as part of the priority facilities projects for the district. The replacement for the chillers for Central Middle School Annex A and B buildings and the gymnasium, 1 chiller per site, was part of that project. The systems at Central Middle School are 13 years old and in need of replacement. The services of a professional engineer are required by law for this project. We're recommending to contract later with Trinity MEP Engineering as the engineer. For this board agenda item, though, we're asking for you to approve a procurement method. We're recommending the competitive sealed proposals method of construction. We also need you, Board of Trustees, to make the determination to retain your authority to rank the proposals to be received as part of the project or to delegate that to administration. And we're asking you to approve the criteria and points to be used for the ranking of the proposals.
Move to approve the first item is competitive sealed proposals.
Correct.
For the staff to rank with the points presented.
Second.
We have a motion by Dr. Rivera and a second by Mr. Gonzalez for competitive seal proposal and for the administration to rank with approval of criteria and points to be used for the ranking the proposals. All those in favor, say please aye.
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 All those against? Motion carries. Item E, discussion and possible action for the board to consider approval of Trinity MEP Engineering to draw the plans and specifications as well as to oversee the construction of the replacement of the chillers and related equipment for Annex A and B and the gymnasium at Central Middle School. Dr. Canales.
Hey, Board of Trustees, I started on this rationale as part of the other board agenda item as well. But Trinity MEP Engineering has done work for the district on past projects such as Weslaco High School and Weslaco East High School tennis courts lighting projects, replacements of chillers at B. Garza Middle School, conversion of the HVAC unit for Weslaco East High School, athletic buildings, and some other work. Our experience with Trinity, our staff's experience with Trinity has been very positive. We are recommending that that you approve to hire Trinity MEP Engineering to design the plans and specs that we need and oversee the construction of the replacement of chillers and related equipment for Annex A and B and the gymnasium at Central Middle School. The cost of this project is a flat fee of $18,300, which is 6% of the estimated project cost of $305,000.
Is that your recommendation?
That is our recommendation.
I'll make a motion to approve.
We have a motion by Mr. Lopez.
A second.
And a second by Dr. Jaime to consider approval of Trinity MEP Engineering to draw the plans and specifications as well as oversee the construction of the replacement of the chillers. All those in favor, please say aye.
Let's just have a little discussion before we go there, if we
Okay.
can. I just want to note that our staff has already noted out that they work well and they've had a positive work experience with Trinity, and therefore that is why I made my recommendation to go ahead.
Okay.
Made my motion. That's it.
Any other discussion? All right. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those against? Motion carries. Item F, discussion and possible action for the board to consider approval of a procurement method of construction for the replacement of the Weslaco East High School main gym HVAC units and the upgrades to the practice gym HVAC unit and the related roofing work needed for both projects. Dr. Canales.
Board of Trustees, again on February 13th, 2017, you approved the HVAC system upgrades district-wide project as part of the priority facilities projects for the district. The replacement of the Weslaco East High School main gym's HVAC units and the upgrades to the practice gym's HVAC units and the related roofing work needed for both projects was part of the priorities. The Weslaco East High School main gym is affected by infrequent but reoccurring water leaks permeating the building through the same location on the roof. The existing HVAC units in this location in the main gym are at least 19 years old, chilled water type with gas heating. The gas heating system has been a great challenge to maintain and operation. Mr. Americo Garza is recommending replacing the units with more reliable systems. In addition, the practice gym HVAC units are 18 years old and undersized in cooling capacity to accommodate the change in the use of the building. The units were originally sized for a practice gym. However, due to the enrollment growth since the construction of the building, the use of the space has changed from just a practice gym to a space holding large assemblies and meetings. The units must be replaced, not just due to age, but primarily to keep up with the increase in the heat load. So we are recommending for this, the competitive sealed proposals method of construction. That board, you make the determination to retain your authority to rank the proposals to be received for the project or delegate the authority to administration, and that you approve the criteria and points to be used for ranking the proposals for these projects. And staff is here to answer any questions you may have.
Yes, are these the ones that were giving us problems when I was still there?
Yes, sir. Yeah, these are it.
Okay.
Do you have a motion?
I'll make a motion to have the competitive sealed proposals,
Second?
administration rank, and the points to be used.
All right.
I'll second that.
We have a motion by Mr. Gonzalez and a second by Mr. Cuellar, Coach Cuellar, to use the competitive seal proposal and delegate authority to the administration, and approval of criteria and points to be used for ranking the proposals. Any discussion?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
We always have a leak at both gyms there. Will this, because I see here, part of it is upgrades or roofing work as needed. I mean, I know there's always not 100% guaranteed, but, you know, we always have a problem at Weslaco East. Is there a way to really seal these HVAC units, these newer ones?
Yes, Mr. Gonzalez, so we've identified the problem, which is actually the roof curb to the AC unit and not necessarily the roof itself. And so that's what needs to be replaced. We need to remove the units, and that's why I'm recommending we take advantage of that and replace the units, since we're gonna be removing them and then doing the work or rework on the roof curbs. For the practice gym, I haven't had the experience of having similar problems with roof leaks, but we do have to upsize those units. For reference, those units are smaller right now than what we have at Lackey Gym at the high school.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
Okay, we just hired an architectural firm that's gonna do a study on our buildings, correct?
Right.
And now we're gonna change HVACs in the same buildings. The engineer is a different company than the people that we just hired to do the work of the evaluation of our buildings. Will you facilitate a way that they can both communicate during this process so that when our report comes back from the architectural firm or from the firm that's given us the report on our facilities, does not come back and says, well, you used the wrong ACs, we should have done
Absolutely.
something different.
Yes.
So make sure that they're both in communication during this process so that we don't get a bad mark against us on doing this at this time.
Absolutely. We've done already that in the past. As a matter of fact, we're currently doing that with overlapping projects at the high school, construction projects and so forth. So we've had to coordinate all that.
Okay. Thank you.
Any more discussion? All right, we have a motion by Mr. Andrew Gonzalez and a second by Coach Cuellar. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 All those against? Motion carries. Item G, Discussion and possible action for the board to consider approval of PBK Architects to draw the plans and specifications as well as oversee the construction for the replacement of the Wesco East High School main gym, HVAC units, and the upgrades to the practice gym, HVAC unit, and the related roofing work needed for both projects. Dr. Canales.
Okay, so this is connected to the last item. PBK has done work for the district on past projects such as Coed Middle School and Sam Houston Elementary School construction,
I'll move to approve.
and is currently working, so we're recommending PBK.
So we have a motion by Mr. Gonzalez.
I'll second the motion.
Dr. Rivera, and a second by Dr. Rivera. Any discussion?
Yeah, just now that we know that, if this passes, it's going to be PBK to help, and going on Mr. Lopez, we just hired ERO, so that they both work, hand in hand, so that, again, leading to what Mr. Lopez said, that they're all on the same page.
Yes, sir.
Do we have any idea on who the engineer will be for PBK?
It's the engineering firm that works with PBK. It's part of their firm department. So it's a branch of PBK, and they're called Leaf Engineering, I believe, that they're gonna use.
Okay. I know that the district has been using Trinity. Is there any possibility to get them
Involved.
to be the consultant on this?
We can certainly contact.
Because I know
PBK
that
about
you, just right now, we just hired them for a different project. Now we're hiring an architectural firm because it's more complex. There's roofing and other issues, and I understand that. The only thing that I would wish is, and if it's not doable, I know that both engineers are qualified. But I would like to see if there's a possibility of getting Trinity in.
Yeah, that just can't be voted on, but.
No, we can't vote it, but
Right. If I may add, Mr. Lopez, PVK, I don't know if you know, they do have, besides mechanical engineers, they have structural engineers, which will be involved in this project. So we wanted to keep them all in the same company.
Okay. All right.
Any more discussion? All right, we have a motion by Mr. Gonzalez and a second by Dr. Rivera. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And those against, motion carries. Item H, discussion and possible action for the board to approve an order authorizing the issuance of public property finance contract to refinance the outstanding balance of the new digital scoreboard lease with Texas National Bank. Dr. Canales.
Board of Trustees, I'm going to have Mr. Sanchez explain this one. It was
Okay.
finalized almost today.
Yes, I have left a set of agenda items there on your desk. This one that looks like this, there's the one on the bottom, the item with the paperclip.
Oh, okay.
Got it? Okay, the board had approved in October to refinance the existing lease we have for the purchase of the scoreboard that we have at Lucky Stadium. And after we did that, we worked with the bank, said, okay, they gave us a rate, 10-year plan, loan to pay the loan so that we could make the payments out of scoreboard revenue, scoreboard advertising revenue. The legal counsel for the bank started looking into the program, what they wanted to do. He said, well, we want you to adopt a special document. It's kind of like what we did for the lease. It was a special document that they did. So they finally sent it to us a couple of weeks ago. So we worked on it. And there's some items that we need to address, look at it, that we have some questions on it. So I'll be working with Mr. Ivan Perez on it and his staff to make changes with the company. I contacted the company. So we're recommending that the board approves the order, like it says here. The board makes a motion that says that the board approves, subject to review and approval by legal counsel, of an order authorizing the issuance of a public property finance contract to refinance the outstanding balance of the new digital scoreboard lease, currently financed by PNC Equipment Finance LLP, to a 10-year loan with Texas National Bank at a 5.125% fixed rate with no prepayment penalty for the 10-year term. So we'll need for a board member to make a motion that says that is subject to review and approval by legal counsel. That way, once we finish the review of the documents, we'll bring them to Dr. Canales for signature, and we'll submit it to the bank. Any questions? Basically, adopting a legal document that the bank needs to have according to the legal counsel for the loan that we're doing.
I'll make a motion to approve.
This is initiated
finance, and the bank has just recently come back, again, a week or two ago.
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, saying that they need this document approved by the board, so.
I'll move to approve.
So we have a motion.
Second.
and
But can you please state, sorry to say it like this, that you move into approve, subject to review and approval of legal counsel of the order authorizing the issuance of the public property finance contract?
I'll move to approve, subject to review by legal counsel
And approval by legal counsel.
and approval by legal counsel.
Second.
Is that all you need on that?
Yes.
Okay. We have
Same
a-
interest rate?
Yes, sir, same interest rate.
Any discussion? Not yet. Okay, we have a motion by Dr. Jaime Rodriguez and a second by Mr. Gonzalez. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those against, motion carries.
Thank you.
All right, closed meeting to discuss. The board will now go into closed meeting to discuss A, personal matters, employment of personnel. A, superintendent's recommendation for head football coach, athletic coordinator for Weslaco High School, resignations. Number 3, deliberation regarding the appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment, duties, discipline, or dismissal of a public officer or employee. And B, consultation with the attorney regarding or pending contemplated litigation, settlement offer, matter in which the duty of the attorney to the Weslaco ISD under the Texas disciplinary rules of professional conduct of the State Bar of Texas clearly conflicts with Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code. Texas Government Code 551.071. It is now 7:54, and we will go to closed session. The time is now 8:53, and the Board of Trustees is now continuing with its open meeting. Possible action if necessary on items discussed in closed meeting. Dr. Canales?
Personnel matters for employment. Board of Trustees, administration is recommending a head football coach, athletic coordinator for Weslaco High School, and that is Mr. Roy Stroman. For your approval.
Do I have a motion on the floor?
So move.
We have a motion by Mr. Gonzalez,
I'll second it.
and we have a second by Mr. Lopez on the recommendation for head football coach, Coach Roy Stroman. All those, any discussion? All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those against, motion carries.
Coach Stroman, would you like to say a few words?
You got 30 minutes.
This is part of your interview, so just
Well,
in case.
first of all, I'm extremely excited because our basketball girls won their playoff game tonight, so that's first and foremost. But I am truly honored, blessed. It's been a long process, mentally drained, and the best thing is our community. I want to thank the board, our administration, our athletic director, the committee that was part of it, and I can truly say that we've got great kids in Weslaco, and it's going to be a great honor. A lot of work, big shoes to fill, but no matter what happens, we've got great kids in Weslaco, and I surely appreciate the opportunity, and I won't let you guys down. Thank you so much.
Coach, I don't know if anybody has any comments, but best of luck. I know you will continue the winning tradition, and of course, working with our student athletes, and of course, with the other programs. I think you'll work well with all of our other programs, so continue to do well. Coach Cuellar, anything?
Mike, Roy, I hope you have a thick skin. I know we've talked about some things before, and I've always said, be careful what you ask for, because you may get it. And If you don't believe me, talk to Birgit over there. But the thing is, we have our faith in you, and there's a lot more to this. There's a bigger picture than just being a head coach. You know, it's about being a community leader, and when you do things, you do them for the right reason. Because when it comes down to it, you're not going to fool anybody on that football field. You can tell us what you want to tell us, but you're not going to fool those kids. So it's going to be very, very important to shoot straight and never take anything personal. Never take anything personal. It's about those kids, and you've seen a little about, you know, this and that. And when I got my first opportunity, a gentleman told me, Coach, for the first few years, X's and O's are going to be about that important to you, because other things are going to be out there. You know, you're going to become a firefighter, and you'll understand what I'm talking about once you get started. So, like Coach Nieto said, we wish you the very best. You're going to have a full support, and hey, run with the ball.
Appreciate it.
Coach, congratulations. Yes, sir. Also, want to just mention again what Coach Cuellar said, that you have this board's full support.
Appreciate that.
Our kids always come first to us, and you can count on anything that you need to get the team ready, and your staff, and whatever you got to do. Let's get this thing going.
Thank you, sir.
Dr. Rivera?
When I was superintendent, I told Coach Cuellar and Coach Burgett, told them both, Coach, here's the ball. Don't fumble.
Thank you, Dr. Rivera.
You got the ball.
Appreciate it.
Mr. Gonzalez?
Good luck, Coach. Many blessings to you, your family, now that you're in this position. He will need all the support. Good luck to you.
Thank you, sir.
Dr. Jaime?
Coach, congratulations. You know, I can't think of a better person, you know, that to bring stability to that program. And I know these kids, you know, need that, you know, and I can't think of a better man that can take over that role. And congratulations to you and the family there.
Thank you, Doctor. I surely appreciate this. 2 years ago, had a chance that, you know, went through a tough situation, and the Lord could have taken me, but He didn't. And now I'm realizing why He didn't take me, and it is to help the kids of Weslaco. Thank you so much.
Good luck, Coach.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Number 2, resignations. Dr.
Board of
Canales?
Trustees recommend that you approve the resignations as discussed in closed session.
So move.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Gonzalez and a second by Dr. Jaime to accept the resignations. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those against? Motion carries.
There are also some new hires.
Okay.
Addendum?
And I also recommend that we approve the new hires as discussed in closed session.
So move.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Gonzalez, a second by Dr. Jaime to approve the new hires. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those against? Motion carries. Anything else would you have on? German.
So move.
Time.
The time is 8:59.